All I have is God. A story of faith. There was a time in my life when I thought I had everything. I had plans. I had people around me. I had dreams that felt solid and unshakable. And I believed that as long as I held on to those things, I would be safe. But life has a way of gently, and sometimes painfully, showing us the truth. One by one, the things I relied on began to fall away. Some left without warning. Some faded slowly. Some broke me so deeply that I didn't recognize myself anymore. I remember the night when I finally admitted it out loud, not to anyone else, but to myself. All I have is God. At first, that realization terrified me, because I thought it meant I had lost. I thought it meant I had failed. I thought it meant I had reached the end. But I was wrong. When everything else was stripped away, I discovered that God had never left. I grew up believing in God, but belief is different from dependence. I used to pray when it was convenient. I trusted God when my life made sense. I leaned on faith only when I had nothing to lose. But then came the season when I truly had nothing. No clear direction. No guaranteed future. No answers to the questions that kept me awake at night. Just silence. And God. I remember sitting alone one evening, overwhelmed by the weight of uncertainty. My prayers were no longer polished or confident. They were raw, broken. Sometimes nothing more than whispered words. God, I don't know what to do. God, I don't know where to go. God, if you don't carry me, I won't survive this. That was the moment my faith changed. I realized that God was not asking me to be strong. He was asking me to be honest. He was not asking me to have answers. He was asking me to trust. When all I had was God, I learned who God truly is. He became my comfort when no one else understood. He became my strength when I couldn't get out of bed. He became my peace when my thoughts refused to quiet down. I learned that faith is not about having a perfect life. It is about holding on to God when life is far from perfect. There were days when I questioned Him, days when I felt angry, days when I wondered why my prayers seemed unanswered. But even in my doubt, God remained faithful. He didn't punish my questions. He didn't turn away from my frustration. Instead, He stayed. I began to see that losing everything else had given me something priceless, a deeper relationship with God. When people walked away, God stayed. When doors closed, God remained present. When hope felt distant, God became my hope. I stopped asking God to fix everything immediately. Instead, I asked Him to walk with me through it. And He did. Slowly, quietly, faithfully. There was no dramatic miracle, no sudden transformation overnight, just small moments of grace, a sense of peace that didn't make sense, strength I couldn't explain, comfort that arrived exactly when I needed it most. I realized that God was teaching me something important, that my worth was not found in what I had, that my security was not found in what I could control, that my identity was not found in success, approval, or certainty. My life was held by God. All I have is God no longer sounded like defeat. It began to sound like freedom. Because if God is all I have, then I am never truly alone. If God is all I have, then my future is not dependent on my strength. If God is all I have, then I am held by something greater than fear. I learned to wake up each day and surrender, not with confidence in myself, but with confidence in God. Some days were still hard. Some nights were still heavy. But I stopped carrying the weight alone. I trusted God with my unanswered questions. I trusted Him with my broken heart. I trusted Him with my future, even when I couldn't see it. And slowly, I began to heal. Not because life became easier, but because God became closer. Today, I don't claim to have everything figured out. I don't claim to have all the answers. But I know this: when everything else is uncertain, God is certain. When everything else fails, God remains faithful. When everything else is taken, God is still enough. All I have is God. And now I understand. That has always been more than enough.